Hi guys, hi everyone. How are we doing today? Let's wait for a few seconds for people to join. I hope all of you can hear me properly. अगर आप मुझे अच्छे से सुन सकते हैं तो प्लीज कमेंट्स में एक हाई डाल दीजिए. हाय दिनेश, गुड टू सी. काफी लोग ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं. हाय राधे श्याम, हाय उपाध्याय. Nice to see everyone. How are you doing? Okay, guys, welcome to our webinar with finance. Guys, I know कि अपनी इन्वेस्टिंग जर्नी शुरू करने से पहले हम सबको बहुत सारे डाउट्स होते हैं और इन डाउट्स और हेजिटेशंस की वजह से हम कई बार इन्वेस्टिंग कर भी नहीं पाते हैं. तो आज के वेबिनार में हम बात करेंगे एक ऐसे इन्वेस्टमेंट प्लेटफॉर्म के बारे में जो आपकी इन्वेस्टिंग जर्नी एकदम सिंपल बना देगा. Joining me today is Dr. Chintan Vora, VP Product Engineering, finance.com. Dr. Vora, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm doing great.
गुड टू हैव यू हियर. तो हमारी ऑडियंस को मैं बता दूं कि डॉक्टर वोरा आज हमारे साथ बात करेंगे फाइनेंस की एक ऑफरिंग के बारे में जिसका नाम है ऑलराउंडर. ऑलराउंडर इंडिया का पहला एआई ड्रिवन इन्वेस्टमेंट प्लेटफॉर्म है. सो डॉक्टर वोरा, वी विल लर्न फ्रॉम यू टुडे कि ऑलराउंडर हमारी हेल्प कैसे कर सकता है व्हेन इट कम्स टू मीटिंग एंड अचीविंग आवर फाइनेंशियल गोल्स. सो सबसे पहले डॉक्टर वोरा, हम आपसे समझते हैं कि एआई रिटेल इन्वेस्टर्स को कैसे हेल्प कर सकता है.
ओके, सो सबसे पहले तो लेट अस अंडरस्टैंड कि एआई एक बज़वर्ड है. इस समय डरने की या घबराने की जरूरत नहीं है. वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट एआई इज जस्ट लाइक अ फ्रेंड. वो एक आपका एक पर्सनल असिस्टेंट है. जैसे एक फ्रेंड आपको हेल्प कर पाएगा आपकी कोई डिसीजन मेकिंग में, रैशनल थॉट्स लेने में, वैसे एआई एक ऑटोमेटेड सिस्टम है जो कि काफी एफिशिएंट और काफी फास्ट सिस्टम है जो आपके सारे बायसेस दूर करके it will help you to take a rational decision. So that's how AI is now used across various functions. It's a technology that will help you enable taking your decisions much better.
राइट. सो थैंक यू फॉर दैट. सो जो लोग हमें अभी ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं मैं उनको बता देती हूँ दैट आफ्टर आवर सेशन एंड्स डॉक्टर वोरा विल आल्सो बी टेकिंग क्वेश्चंस. तो जो भी आपके क्वेश्चंस हो प्लीज कमेंट्स में डाल दीजिएगा एंड वी विल टेक देम अप. माय नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन टू यू इज अगेन अबाउट एआई इटसेल्फ. ये बहुत ही आपने बोला कि एक बज़वर्ड है, इससे घबराने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है, बट जब हम इसके बारे में बात करते हैं when we are talking about AI तो it comes across as something very complicated. तो आपके how does one understand it? Is it very complicated to understand?
Okay. So हमें AI को समझने की जरूरत नहीं है. For every investor, what is more important is कि AI से हमें क्या results मिलते हैं. हम अपने इन्वेस्टमेंट्स को कैसे उसे ऑप्टिमाइज कर सकते हैं. That's the most important thing. So what AI does, as I said, कि वो एक दोस्त की तरह आपके साथ काम करता है. Right? It will give you the right kind of results. It will help you take a rational decision. So जैसे for example, अगर मेरा कोई दोस्त आके मुझसे ये कहता है कि I want to start investing my money today, I will ask him as to कि बताओ कि कौन कौन से stocks में I can invest. Now what AI will do is exactly give you the rational choices. So that's what AI will help you to understand. One, on the construct of the portfolio, it will also tell you as to when to buy, what to buy, and more importantly, when to sell and what to sell. इससे आपका जो portfolio है, that becomes a little more optimized, and it gives you far more superior returns and also helps protect your capital at all the various instances.
जी. तो AI, how does AI solve the problems that humans can't?
Okay. Well, I will cover that in the entire presentation that I will put up. But it's a very valid question. Human beings, we all have some or the other biases, right? अभी इन biases की वजह से we are not able to take a very rational decision.
जी.
Now, what AI does is वन, इट इज वेरी फास्ट। अगर मैं आपको ये बोल दूं कि आप 10,000 कैलकुलेशंस मुझे एक विद इन सम फ्यू सेकेंड्स आप करके दे दीजिए, इट इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर ह्यूमन टू टेक दोज कैलकुलेशंस। बहुत सारा डेटा क्रंच करना, उससे एक डिसीजन लेना, उससे एक आउटकम पे आना, ये सारी चीजें ह्यूमन बींग्स नहीं कर पाते। मोर ओवर व्हेन आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट बायसेस, आई विल एम्फसाइज मोर ऑन बायसेस, कि मेरा जो सीखा हुआ है या जो मेरे पास्ट एक्सपीरियंसेस है वो हमेशा मुझे ट्रेल करते रहते हैं। तो because of which I will never be able to take a very concrete or very correct kind of a decision. For example, I'll give an example in my own family. The elders in the family still says that FD is the best set of investments, right? Because it is their own past experiences.
Right.
So AI will eliminate all these human biases and help you move next.
राइट। ये हमेशा, आई मीन इट डज साउंड वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग, काफ़ी इंटरेस्टिंग कॉन्सेप्ट है, लेकिन ये हमेशा क्या हमें बेटर रिटर्न्स देगा?
Of course, yes. See, एक human being जो सोचता है, it is the same thing which is taught to the systems. It has been learned by the machines over a period of time, and this is what we call an intelligent system. Just it is not from a human being, it is from the machines. It is an artificial intelligence. That is what AI stands for. ये definitely हमेशा आपको बहुत अच्छे returns देगा. One, we've already spoken about biases, so it will eliminate a lot of biases. So it will tell you कि आपको अपना actually action कब लेना चाहिए, राइट? सो दो चीजें एआई हमेशा आपको करके देगा। वन, इट विल गिव यू वेरी गुड रिटर्न्स ओवर एनी काइंड ऑफ अ टाइम फ्रेम, बिकॉज इट इज एक्यूरेट, इट इज फास्ट, एंड इट इज विदाउट एनी ह्यूमन बायसेस। एंड सेकेंड, नॉट ओनली द रिटर्न्स, जब भी हम इन्वेस्टमेंट्स करते हैं हमारे लिए प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ कैपिटल उतना ही इक्वल इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है। सो द एलिमेंट ऑफ एआई विल ऑल्सो हेल्प यू प्रोटेक्ट योर कैपिटल ऑल द टाइम।
ऑल द टाइम, राइट। एंड कौन सी रिस्क्स हैं जो हमें समझनी चाहिए बिफोर वी टेक अप एआई बेस्ड इन्वेस्टिंग?
ओके, सो रिस्क एक बहुत ही परसीव्ड टर्म हो जाता है, राइट? सो फॉर एग्जांपल, a child running at a speed of child cycling on the road is considered to be a lot of risk, but an adult cycling on the same road is not considered to be a risk. सो काफी बार हम लोग ये सुनते हैं कि एआई एक मशीन से आता है, सो देयर आर लॉट ऑफ रिस्क। सो वी नीड टू फर्स्ट अंडरस्टैंड दैट देयर इज नो सच रिस्क, बिकॉज एक एआई सिस्टम बनाने के पीछे देयर इज ऑलरेडी a human intelligence. What AI does is using that particular human intelligence, वो खुद अपने आप में on a progressive basis हमेशा learn करता है, and that's where the outcomes are always better with the AI kind of a model. And also to understand that AI is not always left in lurch on its own. There are intelligent minds which will always keep optimizing onto the system, and system खुद भी अपने आप सीखता है। तो हमें कोई रिस्क, आइडियली परसिव्ड रिस्क से डरने की जरूरत नहीं है when it comes to any AI based investments. They are the safest kind of an investments, and also I always keep saying it's an optimized way to invest your money.
राइट, दैट साउंड्स ग्रेट। एंड ऑल्सो डॉक्टर वोरा, आई बिलीव कि आपके पास हमारे लिए एक प्रेजेंटेशन है जो आप अभी प्रेजेंट करने वाले हैं। सो इट्स ओवर टू यू, आई एम जस्ट एडिंग दैट टू द स्क्रीन।
Sure. Okay. So with that, हमारा आज का जो टॉपिक है, it is all about new age investing. So what I want to present is an AI driven multi asset investment model. जब मैं एक AI driven multi asset investment model की बात कर रहा हूँ, I'm talking about two factors here. One, it is all AI driven, जिसके बारे में हम काफी questions already question answers कर चुके हैं. And the second part is that it is a multi asset investment model. अब ये कैसे impact करता है? Let us learn during the entire presentation. So while I go on the presentation, you see what used to happen, some few years back, मेरा जो experience है, when I used to walk into a bank, the experience used to be little cluttered, little soiled experience. I had to move from one desk to another desk, do a lot of things, talk to a lot many people. Now ये जो experience है, इसमें क्या हो जाता था कि the kind of time that I used to invest, kind of clarity I used to have, kind of transparency, control, ये सारी चीजें मेरे पास बिल्कुल नहीं होती थी. This is a very traditional kind of a model जैसे हम लोग इन्वेस्ट किया करते थे. बट आज की डेट में look at this entire experience, it is all become completely a DIY kind of an experience. So from a journey wherein I used to walk up to somebody, I'm doing it myself. This is what we are talking today. AI इसी एक्सपीरियंस को आगे और रिफाइन कर लेता है, जहां पर क्या हो जाता है कि नॉट दैट यू आर गोइंग टू अ बैंक और यू आर गोइंग टू समबडी एल्स or you are doing it yourself, the machine or the system is coming to you, the smart solution is coming to you at your doorstep and telling you as to what you need to do. So that is basically the artificial intelligence. So आज आप मोबाइल में जो भी अपनी एक्टिविटीज कर रहे हैं, just think about the same experience कि वो मोबाइल से ही आपको एक नोटिफिकेशन आने शुरू हो जाता है where exactly you should invest. With all that data that the systems have got, I identify that आपका risk profile is say balance risk profile. You need to invest into XYZ kind of an instruments. आपको इतना ही amount invest करना चाहिए, right? This is the time that I know ideally you should enter. This is the time that you should exit. This is all about an AI. Now, while I speak about AI, it leaves us with a lot of benefits. But before we understand a lot of benefits of AI, let us identify that there are a lot of biases that we have as an individuals. I was talking about the piece on the biases. Now let us understand what are some very commonly observed biases जो होते हैं. Biases का मतलब ये कि हमारे खुद के experiences जो हमें एक rational decision making से थोड़ा सा 2 कदम पीछे कर देते हैं. एक तो है confirmation bias. अब ये biases के बारे में मैं I will just cover it in a nutshell कि confirmation bias मतलब मैं ये सोचता हूँ कि जो information मेरे पास है, अगर मुझे कोई कहता है कि ये information correct है, I will go with the flow. So अगर मुझे लगता है कि market ऊपर जा रहा है और अगर मैं कहीं एक article पढ़ लूँ कि market ऊपर ही जाने वाला है, I will go with that particular news. मुझे confirmation मिलता है मेरे biases का, which could be true, which could not be true. Biases का मतलब ये है कि it might not be true all the time. Herd mentality is अगर मेरे group of friends है, if they expect a particular direction in the market or they expect a stock is expected to go up, they will all buy a particular stock or a particular fund or particular instrument. That's a herd mentality. Now it is not necessary that the a larger group or probably a particular herd could be right all the time. The third is loss aversion. Now this is the most common bias that we have seen amongst investors और खास करके जो young investors है उनमें. अगर मैंने कोई एक सिक्योरिटी अगर परचेस कर ली है and if I'm seeing certain losses getting occurred into that particular security, what I see is कि अगर उसमें मुझे कुछ losses भी अगर accumulate होते हुए दिख रहे, I will still not exit. अब जब हम ये सारे behavioral biases की बात कर रहे हैं, इसके साथ साथ we also need to understand कि AI इसमें हमें कैसे help करता है. So AI is a very rational, it is not an emotional system. AI will come up very strongly and tell you that you are incurring a losses. This is exactly the time that you should cut down on all your losses. So जो loss aversion का जो bias है कि मुझे अपना loss book नहीं करना है, but profit I will book it very quickly. So that loss aversion bias basically goes off. The next is overconfidence bias. Now I'll just give an instance. Some few days back when markets crashed, right from 17,000 odd levels to less than 17,000 odd levels, there was a crash in the market. Immediately the same day we had analysts, couple of analysts or probably self-proclaimed analysts saying that markets is expected to tank further more by another 3 to 4,000 odd points. And this is what I'm talking on the Nifty levels. The next day when markets jumped up, the same set of analysts came up arguing that the markets are expected to go up by another 3 to 4,000 odd points. अब ये जो biases होते हैं ये over confidence bias होते हैं because we have learned certain things but not in totality. We feel that whatever is our viewpoint, वो viewpoint हमेशा ही सही रहेगा और ये over confidence bias ही एक ऐसा bias होता है जो हमें loss की तरफ लेके चला जाता है. And the last is the information bias. So जितने information मेरे पास है, only basis that information I will start taking some decision, right? But information could be plentiful and we need to understand that only one set of information might not be right for any individual investor to start taking a decision. So what AI does is, as a human being, I can crunch probably a very small set of information, but a very large set of information, the entire data can be crunched by the AI, the entire system. So these are all the biases, and where AI comes into picture is to eliminate all these particular biases. So to explain this in slightly more rationality, whatever we think, it's the same thing that machine thinks, right? So the artificial intelligence or the machine learning or deep learning, ये सारे जितने भी parameters या जितने भी aspects की हम बात करते हैं, these are exactly those particular aspects जो कि AI से हमें मिलते हैं. and these are all interchangeably used words for a different mechanisms. So यहाँ पर जब हम AI पे फोकस कर रहे हैं, it is the brain of a machine which is able to process the data faster, give you the results with better clarity and rationality. That is all is what AI about. अब AI हमें कहाँ कहाँ पर हेल्प कर लेता है? If you look at globally, lot of financial institutions have started to use, especially in the developed countries, they've started to use AI as a system to crunch information and give right kind of an advisory to the customers. Now जितने भी आपको insights मिलते हैं, these are all automated insights. So इसमें there are no biases that comes into picture. So one individual might not be right all the time in terms of taking a decision. So all the insights that comes to me from AI is all automated. Second, if I look at analyzing a very large set of data, that again can be done through AI. जो मेरा decision making है, I kept repeating this particular term called a rational decision making. So the decision making becomes very rational. And the fourth and most important is a customized solution. So if I have to go and cater to probably 100 different customers, one size fits all doesn't really work. So 100 अलग अलग customers के लिए अगर मुझे 100 customized advisory देनी पड़ेगी, because not all the customers are the same. किसी का risk अलग होगा, किसी का duration अलग होगा, किसी का choice of investments अलग होगा, किसी का mode of investment अलग होगा. So there could be a lot of customization that could be done, and all this data very quickly can be processed by AI engine, and the entire solution that comes to the end customer is all going to be 100% customized. That's a kind of a solution that you end up getting. Now moving next, अगर हम बात करते कि what are the core problems that I have, right? आज की तारीख में मेरे जो core problems है वो किसी भी investor के, there are two core problems that I have. One, that I will lose my capital, that's my first core problem, and the second is कि मुझे returns कैसे अच्छा मिले. So ये जो problems है इसको मैं अगर चार अलग अलग चीजों में divide कर दूं तो I don't know where to invest. अगर मुझे कहीं से वो एडवाइस मिल भी जाती कि where to invest, I never get an advice as to when do I exit, राइट? तो मैं कब खरीदूं, कब बेचूं, मुझे इसका परफेक्ट एडवाइस नहीं मिलता है. आई कैनॉट implement that advice on a timely basis. So that's ensuring timely actions and managing multiple asset classes. These are the four core problems. Now when I speak about managing multiple asset classes, what I mean is कि एक particular phase में equities are giving a very good returns. There could be a phase wherein equities will not give you as good a return. डेट बहुत अच्छा रिटर्न देगा, क्रूड बहुत अच्छा रिटर्न देगा, या गोल्ड बहुत अच्छा रिटर्न देगा. नाउ 95% of retail investors will never juggle between their investments very quickly. They will not be able to react to markets very quickly. So all of a sudden, because of some situation, market situation, geopolitical conditions, if I see that equity markets are not able to do better, अगर मुझे वो rationality समझ में आ रही है, तो समझ में तो आ रहा है कि now is a time that I should switch over to gold. It is very difficult for a human being to take that call very actively, but AI is able to do it very smartly, and it can precisely predict as to what is in future, because AI is a system that learns automatically on its own, and hence managing multiple asset classes, taking an action on it becomes very easy. अब ये तो हो गई प्रॉब्लम्स की बात. So what is the solution to this? So what AI does, be it an equity, be it a mutual fund, AI, one, it will manage the entire volatility. So market के जो भी cycles हैं, you have to sail through all these particular cycles. AI उन cycles को बहुत अच्छे से manage कर लेगा. Second is, we don't really say that you have to time the market all the time, but effective timing makes a lot of difference in an overall return in the portfolio. So AI एक बहुत ही effectively time कर सकता है. It can basically state as to when should you enter, when should you exit. And the last important part, on one of the sides of the slides that I mentioned is a multi-asset allocation. So equities में how much should I invest, debt में how much should I invest. There are traditional models जो आपको बता देते हैं कि if you are say 30 years of age, 70% should be lying into an equity. But situations, your risk appetite is all very different from one investor to another investor. So multi-asset allocation is again a very dynamic stuff, It is not a very static kind of a factor that one should look at. So AI helps you identify even your multi-asset allocation. And when you invest into a multiple asset at the same time, look at the kind of a cushion in the overall portfolio that you end up getting by investing into multiple assets. The beauty, the benefit that you have is that your investments, not all the investments will go up or down at the same time. So managing multiple investments at the same time will ensure that your returns are optimized, but at the same time it will also ensure कि आपका जो downside है वो काफी हद तक protected रहेगा. Right? So I was giving an example of equities and gold. So if there is a situation wherein equity markets are not doing good, a multi-asset portfolio will shift all your money from equity to gold, or at least a part of your money from equity to gold, and ensure that your capital stays safe and grows at the same time. And at a right time, which is the previous point, effective timing, it will switch all your money back to equities. Likewise, it is all affordable and flexible. Power of compounding plays a very critical role because AI अगर हमें 2 या 5% भी अगर एक incremental return दे देता है, it creates a huge impact over a period of time. Now, a small difference of probably 4% kind of a return, एक 4% का return का जो difference है over a period of some 30-35 odd years kind of an investment can make a difference of your wealth by up to 4 times. So what I mean to say is that if you have two different set of investments, one investment giving you 8% return and the other investment giving you 12% return, and these are all returns I'm quoting as an example. So 8% returns pay if you are investing say 100x, 100 rupees, in another 36 years it will go to becoming 3600, sorry 1600. But the same money invested at 12 percentage will become not 1600, not 3200, but it can straight away become 3600. This is where the power of compounding comes into picture. And because AI is a very effective identification or effective system जो आपके returns को optimize कर सकता है, or 2, 3, 4, 5% kind of return increment in your overall portfolio can give you a drastically higher return over a period of time. There is no lock-in in the product that we are going to be talking about. So no lock-in, complete liquidity, a good power of compounding, and at the same time, a very high returns. Now, here is where I would like to speak to you about what exactly are we looking forward to. अगर एक ideal investment proposition में, एक ideal investment product में, if I really want to invest, मैं क्या देखूंगा और किस तरह से मैं अपना एक investment decision ले पाऊंगा. So first thing first, I'm not wanting to worry on my investments. अगर पैसा इन्वेस्ट करूं और अगर मुझे रात को नींद नहीं आएगी बिकॉज ऑफ द वॉलेटिलिटी फैक्टर, मेरा पैसा डूब जाएगा, नीचे चला जाएगा, तो वन आई डू नॉट वांट दैट. सो जो इन्वेस्टमेंट ऑप्शन होना चाहिए, इट हैज टू बी कंप्लीटली वरी फ्री इन्वेस्टमेंट ऑप्शन जहां पर आपका कैपिटल 100% प्रिजर्व्ड रहेगा. द सेकेंड थिंग इज कि जो भी मैं इन्वेस्टमेंट्स कर रहा हूं, आई डू नॉट वांट एनी लॉक इन ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर मनी. I need my complete control on the money. If I need that money for any emergencies, I am able to pull out that particular money. The third thing is that it has to be affordable. एक ऐसा प्रोडक्ट जिसमें आपको रिटर्न्स भी बहुत हाई मिलते हो और जिसमें कैपिटल भी प्रोटेक्टेड रहे. तो लोग अक्सर सोचते हैं कि इस तरीके के प्रोडक्ट्स में इन्वेस्ट करने के लिए यू नीड अ वेरी बिग कॉर्पस. नाउ दैट्स अ मिथ. यू डू नॉट रिक्वायर अ वेरी ह्यूज कॉर्पस, and it also do not require a very fresh capital to be invested in. आपके पास जो existing mutual fund का या जो stocks का portfolio है, you might just pull out a part of your portfolio and start investing into an AI based multi-asset investments, and that is where your existing investments can be restructured. So it is affordable. The ticket size is not as high, as affordable to what it could be to any retail investor. A completely new approach to investing because it is all AI based and it is managing multiple assets at the same time. And the last thing is that we say that the money gets doubled in 3 years. Now this is one particular piece wherein I want to emphasize that when I say the money gets doubled in 3 years, what exactly are we going to be talking about? Now this is a juncture wherein I would like to introduce a product to you which is all-rounder. So finance.com के पास जो प्रोडक्ट है ऑल राउंडर, इट्स completely back tested multi-asset AI driven portfolio. Now what it offers it says that it's kind of a retail PMS. It's not a PMS per se, but जैसे retailers जैसे PMS ले सकते हैं at a small ticket size. So what it offers is a value proposition. One, the capital stays preserved. Objective is that we only want to ensure that all the investors in the current investments in all rounder will have only positive portfolios. It's a hedged portfolio because मेरे जो investments है वो मैं equity, gold, treasury, ETFs, I can even park my money into gilts, into cash, even into some Nasdaq kind of an investments. So the entire portfolio stays to be hedged because it plays with multiple assets at the same time. The third is superior returns. Now, we have been live with this particular product for quite some time. I will talk about how the returns have been over a period of the tenure that we have been live, and even all during the times that we have been piloting this particular product. But it ensures a 30% kind of a return, which is a CAGR. It means in year on year 30% kind of a return, and this is tested for last more than 15 long years. Along with this, it's all AI based. So it is all algorithm driven. So it's technology driven. And along with this technology, there is an experienced team that backs it up. And the entire team, we said that, there's 100+ years kind of a man experience of the entire team put together. And thus this product ensures you a very safe capital. So that's protection on the capital and a complete liquidity. That's a complete control over your money. So your money is not going anywhere out of your own demat account. It stays in your own demat account. And when it comes to the minimum investment ticket size, it's just 1.25 lakhs, something that you can start one time, or you can as well start with only 10,000 rupees kind of a monthly SIP. So it is as simple as that. Now, all this while we speak, please understand where the product basically fits in. आइडियली क्या होता है कि हमारे पास कुछ ट्रेडिशनल प्रोडक्ट्स ऑलरेडी अवेलेबल हैं, जैसे कि म्यूचुअल फंड्स, and we also have some other set of products which are very high end kind of a product, right, which is a PMS. A mutual fund mein there are no entry barriers. I can start with a very small amount, right? I am aware that there are mutual funds available. Mutual fund mein bhi काफी flexibility है, but none of the mutual funds will be able to protect your capital because regulations ये कहते हैं कि कम वॉट में there is some amount in an equity mutual fund has to remain in equity depending on what is the underlying scheme, उसके objectives क्या है, right, and all those things. So it is completely regulated. On the other hand, there are products like PMSs. Now portfolio management service क्या करते हैं कि there is a very high entry barrier. The minimum ticket size itself is approximately 50 lakhs. There's no transparency. Practically 50 lakh देने के बाद to an investor, I really don't know what is happening to my money till the time I really get to see the statement. There's no flexibility. So it's not my choice whether I want to execute, right? So the structures are a little rigid and the returns are not as fancy. But when it comes to a retail PMS, and that is where we have a very large gap for a very, for an investor who's just started, who's probably in early 30s, late 40s, whatsoever is the investment pattern. If the ticket size is smaller, the ticket size that we spoke about, anywhere 1.25 lakhs to 2 lakhs to 5 lakhs, so ticket size which is less than 50 lakhs, वो ticket size के लिए the there is a very moderate entry barrier. Entry barrier में क्या है कि आपके पास सिर्फ आपका एक डीमैट अकाउंट होना चाहिए. That डीमैट अकाउंट could be with 5 पैसा. New age offering है because it's all AI driven, so it's new age. There is a moderate flexibility today that we have got available. So moderate flexibility इसलिए because we advise you and you need to keep executing the entire trades, but there is a very high protection and there is very high return. So normally ऐसा होता है कि higher the risk, higher the return. This is what we have always heard. Now with all the new AI technology, with all the new AI getting implemented, with the innovations coming into picture in the investments, with an instrument which is promising or which is ensuring to deliver a very high return, it doesn't mean that it comes with a significantly higher risk. It means that the higher return will only ensure that there is a higher protection of capital. So any positive return means that there is no capital that is getting eroded. So it's a very unique kind of an offering and which addresses the investment bucket which is not available in the market today, and which is beyond a very fancy product like PMS, and which is very beyond from all the clutter of investments like mutual funds and other advisory products available in the market, in the industry today. So what's the strategy? Basically, all rounder is a complete AI led. It's all actively managed, so it doesn't wait to advise you tomorrow, day after, or probably some few days later. It is a very actively managed portfolio. It's basically completely disruption. It's disrupting the entire way we manage our investments. आज तक हमारा इन्वेस्टमेंट मैनेज करने का स्टाइल ये था that कोई हमें फोन कर रहा है, कोई हमें एडवाइस कर रहा है, and probably then we are taking a decision as to how should we invest. And this advisory is not all the time very customized. This disruption says that it's all customized, aligned to your amount, aligned to your portfolio, aligned to your investment style, and it's just a click away for you to start executing it. So everything comes to you at your doorstep, which is beyond you going to a mobile app and putting up some transactions on your own. This is where the transaction will come to you, and that's where you are able to place the trades. It's a first of its kind multi-asset and a multi-class model. Now what it says is, जो हम सबको बहुत पसंद आता है, the security is exactly like a debt. So I want to invest my money into fixed deposit. Why? Because I do not want any capital erosion to happen. But at the same time जो मुझे returns चाहिए वो चाहिए मुझे equities जैसे. Reason being, I also need a high returns. So if that is a kind of a blend that I want, then all rounder is a very right kind of an answer, because this is the product which gives you a 30% kind of a CAGR returns on every year. At the same time, because of its multi-asset play, it will ensure that your capital is completely secured, and hence the returns are definitely like an equity, better than equity, but a security is definitely better than a cash or an FD which is lying in your accounts. So that's about the entire strategy on all rounder. जब हम AI ऑटोमेटेड इन्वेस्टमेंट्स की बात करते हैं, लेट अस अंडरस्टैंड कि जो ऑलराउंडर जो प्रपोजिशन है उसका व्हाट इज द एक्सपीरियंस लाइक. सो द मोमेंट यू रजिस्टर, राइट, we introduce what is this product all about to you. When this introduction happens to you, and this is all available on the app of 5nance.com, it can be seen on 5paisa partners portal. आपको यहाँ से you can download this particular the entire offering, the entire app. Now you get to identify what are the USPs. The moment you identify the USPs, it's very transparent with all the clarity. You will get to identify what is the past performance of this particular product. So you can go to different time frames and identify whether the product has performed really well in past. Has it given a consistent 30% plus kind of return or not, with a various different risk profiles. So that's where you do a risk profile. You do the entire e-signing. Now e-signing process is completely at par with what regulations define. Everything is automated, everything is online. Your demat process is wherein you attach your 5paisa's demat account with finance app, and you simply get started with it. Now this is the onboarding journey. Once you get started with it, right, what happens is that we give you a notification, we send you multiple communications and tell you that what exactly you should buy. आपको क्या खरीदना है, क्या बेचना है. This advisory part will come to you on your mobile phone. The moment you click on it, you just need to give a consent saying okay, and the trades will be placed in your own demat account. आपने जो भी trades execute किए, इसका सारा जो overview है, this will come on the dashboard of the app itself. So आपको पता चलता जाएगा that what was the amount that you invested, आपको क्या advisory दी गई थी, what is executed, what is not executed, right? There are recurring advisory, अगर कुछ execution अगर छूट गया है तो there are multiple reminders, और जो overall जो पूरा performance है, that performance can be seen on the dashboard live. And the last part is that there is a constant communication on what is done, what is not done. So it's all very dynamic. This is a complete user experience. The entire experience is a complete paperless experience, completely online at your own comfort, and you can place your trades at any point in time. So अगर आपका एक दिन मिस हो गया, 2 दिन मिस हो गए, need not worry. The system is made robust in such a way and that's all again powered by AI. That today अगर आपको अगर 10 stocks खरीदने का अगर एक recommendation दिया भी गया है, and if you have missed on buying one of the stocks, and if you come probably say 2 or 3 days later, you just need to refresh, you get to identify the new set of recommendations which is in line with managing your entire portfolio and ensuring that you get the returns that is already promised by the entire product. Now typically who's the customer to us? So far, a new investor who's new to market, जिसके पास कुछ छोटा सा इन्वेस्टेबल सरप्लस है, जिनको कुछ हेल्प चाहिए, right? But to invest, these are the set of customers who can come and invest into all rounder. The second set of investors are people who've already invested, जिनके पास अपना खुद का म्यूचुअल फंड का पोर्टफोलियो है, which is any which way is giving you a return of anywhere between, say, probably a good equity mutual fund portfolio will give you a stable return of anywhere between, say, 12 to 17 to 18% kind of a return, right? That's a very broad range on the mutual funds. On direct equities, there could be a set portfolio, but as an investor, you do not have very active time to keep managing it. That's one. Second, even if you have time to manage it, which is where you are an active investor, you do not have a time, bandwidth, understanding to manage multiple assets at the same time. And so that kind of a profile is a right profile to buy a product which is all rounder. So mutual fund portfolio, direct equities जिनके पास है, you can shell out a part of the portfolio, park it into all rounder, and see it yourself how the entire portfolio, how the entire money moves. Now, while I was talking to you about the power of compounding, जब 3 या 4% में the wealth could grow probably 4 times over a period of time, you as well can understand that the wealth can grow multiple times kind of a difference, अगर वो जो difference है वो एक म्यूचुअल फंड के पोर्टफोलियो में और एक ऑलराउंडर के पोर्टफोलियो में, if the difference is anywhere between 12 to 15 odd percentage, so the money can probably grow at least 7 to 8 times within a short span of time as compared to any investments which is done into investments which are not yielding a very high returns. And when I say very high returns, it also comes to you with some kind of a capital guarantee or capital, security of the capital, the protection or the preservation of capital. Now, investors who are very active, who understands direct equity, who understands the entire domain, right, who have got a lot of time, but people or investors who want to earn extra returns, who wants to diversify their own portfolio, who wants to seek some extra advisory, they are the ones who can come on the platform and they can register for this particular product also. So that's typically kind of a profile for whom all-rounder becomes a very right kind of a product. Now, whatever I said, I will explain this in a very small video, right? It's a 2-minute video. Please enjoy the video. I'll put on the video for you.
Today, there are many attractive options to create wealth. It's difficult to decide. Should you invest in mutual funds, gold, ETF, or stocks? And what's the right time? Investing requires a lot of market knowledge, detailed research, and daily tracking. It takes real time and effort. Scared you might make the wrong choice? Fear not. Your wait is finally over. Now invest without human bias. Presenting All-Rounder. Invest directly in an AI-built portfolio with a basket of stocks, gold, and indexes. All-Rounder safeguards your investment by diversifying it across different asset classes. Globally, money moves across asset classes, driving the trend. Our AI-based algorithm identifies and tracks this trend. It then moves your money across these asset classes, so you keep creating consistent wealth. Backtested for more than 15 years, it delivered over 30% CAGR returns on an average. Having over 100 plus man-years of experience, we are SEBI-registered advisors. Here are a few quick steps to invest in All-Rounder. 1. Choose the portfolio. 2. Pay the advisory fee. 3. Fill your details. And 4. Activate your DMAT broker account. Congrats! You subscribe to All-Rounder. Once you subscribe, check the asset weights carried by each class and begin investing in a few clicks. Start tracking your real-time portfolio seamlessly one that's optimized and rebalanced weekly, monthly, or quarterly. Now, revolutionize your investing experience. Invest stress-free in a disciplined manner. Give the all-rounder a shot. Today,
All right. So I hope that puts up a lot better clarity on how the entire, all-rounder functions. Now on the backtesting side of it, just a sample that I want to put up, and this is the real image of the app, wherein as an investor, you can go personally on the app, download this particular app and check the performance for yourself. अब जो मैं power of compounding की जो बात कर रहा था, the kind of a return difference in everything, look at this one example. अगर मैं 5 साल से if I was investor into this particular product for last 5 years, 2 लाख रुपए अगर मैंने इन्वेस्ट किए होते, पिछले 5 सालों में जो निफ्टी का रिटर्न है, दैट्स अप्रोक्सीमेटली 14.56%. बट यही रिटर्न ऑल राउंडर में पिछले 5 साल में इट हैज बीन अप्रोक्सीमेटली 36%. The return difference of 2 lakhs in Nifty, it has grown to approximately 3.95 lakhs. But with a higher return, the same instrument over a period of time in all rounder, the same investments in all rounder would have grown to approximately 9.46 lakhs. So when you look at the difference of wealth that it can create, that's humongous, and that's where all rounder multi-asset AI based investments comes into picture. Now after having seen this, it's time for me to show you what has been the actual returns over a period of time for entire all-rounder. Now when you look at this particular data, it's a data which identifies what has been the kind of a return over a period of time. So अगर हम ईयरली रिटर्न्स की बात करते हैं, एंड दिस आर ऑल पीरियड एंडिंग 2006 से लेकर के दिसंबर 2021 तक. So if you look at 1 year kind of a return, there is a list of returns that we've already seen starting from 2006 to 2021. So there is a return which is 1 year return. There are 3-year CAGR returns, right? And there is a 5-year kind of CAGR return. जब हम इन्वेस्टमेंट्स की बात करते हैं, there's always a long term kind of an investments. So investments will never say that it's a very short term kind of an investment. So if you look at the overall return pattern in a 3-year cycle, the least that I see is 22% in March 2009, and in 1 year the least that I see is 2% of return in March 2009. Now we really have to understand what was this particular period wherein there were least set of returns which were identified. ये वही 1 साल का ड्यूरेशन था wherein the market crashed almost a big time. I mean the biggest fall that we have seen in equity markets which happened in the year 2008. So इतने बड़े मार्केट के डिबेकल के बाद जहां पर मार्केट करेक्टेड बाय ऑलमोस्ट 50% in that 1 year, all-rounder not only gave a positive return, right, but it ensured that your capital stays protected, and that's where the positive return comes into picture. अब ये क्यों हो पाया और कैसे हो पाया? It's all because it was an AI driven. That's one. Second, forget about it being an AI driven alone. It took an approach of a multi-assets. So उस duration में the gold and debt securities gave slightly better returns as compared to equities, and that's why the capital got preserved. So while investing or while taking an investment decision, one always needs to understand that we need to target a higher returns. At the same time, we need to identify कि हमारा capital कितना protected रहेगा. But as I say that investment is always a long-term game. So that's where when you start looking at a 3-year and a 5-year kind of a rolling return, right? At a 5-year rolling return, I see the least returns is only 29.47%, and these are annual returns. This was in March 2020, and a 15-year cycle, the CAGR returns have been approximately 43%. So that's all about the entire all-rounder performance. So I leave the stage open to you, and before I do that, we have a QR code. This is an exclusive offer for all the customers of 5paisa. You can put in this particular promo code called 5paisa webinar. The same code will be displayed even in the description on this particular web session, and this particular QR code, will be placing this in the description. Scanning this particular QR code, you get a straight away 20% kind of a discount on the fees of all rounder. With this, I leave the stage open for any and every kind of a questions.
Right. So we have quite a few audience questions here.
Mhm.
Let's start with Deepak Kadam. He's asking, what is the guarantee of returns?
Okay. So to Deepak, my answer is very simple. We never said that there's a guarantee of return. What we, in other words, identify is that an AI driven system will always ensure that there is an alpha. Alpha means a return which is above the benchmark that gets created, right? So that extra alpha or the returns that gets created over the benchmark is anywhere in the range of probably 5-10% and even more. So if the markets are able to deliver approximately 15 to 20% kind of a return, an optimized model will always deliver you 5 to 10% kind of a return. Now how this happens, I'll explain. एक साल के अंदर अगर आप मार्केट के मूवमेंट्स देखते हैं तो मार्केट ने अगर 20% का रिटर्न दिया है, देयर बी मल्टीपल इंस्टेंसेस जहां पर मार्केट 7 से 8% या इवन 10% हर एक साल में क्रैश होता ही है. सो ऑन अ लॉन्ग टर्म एक साल में 10% का क्रैश इज वेरी कॉमन फॉर द मार्केट्स. ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ 3 years 20% का एक क्रैश इज वेरी कॉमन, एंड ओवर अ साइकिल ऑफ 3 years एटलीस्ट 30% का क्रैश इज वेरी कॉमन फॉर द मार्केट्स. तो जब ये क्रैश आता है तब हम क्या करते हैं, हम अपना पैसा इक्विटीज में इन्वेस्ट करके छोड़ देते हैं. सो जब क्रैश आता है तो हमारा पैसा भी इक्विटी के साथ साथ नीचे आ जाता है, राइट? बट अ मल्टी एसेट सिस्टम व्हाट इट विल डू इज इट विल स्विच आउट फ्रॉम इक्विटीज एट द राइट टाइम. और जहां पर एक इन्वेस्टर का पैसा जहां पर 10% के क्रैश में जहां 100 से 90 हो चुका है, माई कैपिटल विल स्टिल रिमेन इंटेक्ट एट 100 और प्रोबेबली इवन मोर. सो कुछ टाइम के बाद वो इन्वेस्टर जो 100% इक्विटी में इन्वेस्टेड थे, जो वो अपने 90 से 100 की जर्नी कंप्लीट कर चुके हैं, व्हेन देयर कैपिटल इज एट पार, वहीं पर जिन लोगों ने मल्टी एसेट एआई बेस्ड इन्वेस्टमेंट्स करके रखे विच इज द ऑलराउंडर, तो जो रिटर्न्स है दैट विल नॉट बी 100, बट उनकी जर्नी तो 100 प्लस से ही शुरू होगी, right? So they will very clearly be able to get something like 110 or even more kind of returns. So that's a power. So it's not a guarantee of the returns, but you have to understand how the entire model functions and how it automatically manages your portfolio in a better way.
Right. Aparna Singh is asking, how long is your portfolio's model trained, or is it regularly trained following the market situations?
So we've been training this particular model for more than 3 years now. That's we've been training. But also, Aparna, to answer this, we've been live with this particular product for our consumers for more than 8 months now. Now, herein, I also need to identify what has been the returns for this particular period. पिछले 8 महीनों में, if any one of us has been into equity markets, we would have seen multiple times markets crashing. अब ये जो क्रैश है ये 5-7% के भी क्रैश आ रहे हैं. टिपिकली रिटेल इन्वेस्टर ये कहते हैं कि पिछले 6-7 महीनों में हमने कोई ज्यादा रिटर्न्स बना ही नहीं पाए इक्विटी मार्केट्स में. द रीजन बीइंग वी हैव ऑलवेज स्टेड इन्वेस्टेड. इन लास्ट 1 year स्पैन ऑफ टाइम दिस प्रोडक्ट हैज एफिशिएंटली डिलीवर्ड. सो अगर मैं जैन से दिसंबर की बात करता हूँ इन 2021, जहां पर निफ्टी ने 31% के आसपास के रिटर्न्स डिलीवर किए थे, ऑलराउंडर ने उसी एक साल के फेज में 58% के रिटर्न्स डिलीवर किए थे. और अगर मैं एकदम रिसेंट पीरियड की अगर बात करता हूं, the consistency of this product is always to deliver more than 30% plus kind of a CAGR. Now that is the first part of the question that Aparna asked. The next part, that how often is this algorithm trained? It's practically monitored by the team on an ongoing basis, but the algorithms also are self-iterative. They keep learning from the data which is already fed into the system in the past. So ये ongoing basis पे system खुद भी सीखता है, and there is enough human intelligence which will feed in some newer information to the system to make it a little more robust and optimized.
Right. Neil Kamal Basina is asking, can it be used for intraday bank nifty options?
No, this is an investment offering that we have presented, right? Ideally, जब आप एक investment philosophy की बात करते हैं, तो your ideal holding period of any investment should be approximately 3 odd years. This product doesn't come with any kind of a lock-in period. तो आप आज इन्वेस्ट करके you might exit your investment at any point in time in case if the need be is. But because it's an investment class, advisory offering, we suggest that you should stay minimum 3 years in this product to invest.
Right. Aparna Singh is again asking another question. Which model is used for the portfolio, LR or RF classifier?
Okay. Very technical, Aparna. I think we can always discuss on this. For the interest of larger audience, there are various models on AI that we have been using. So I will not get into specifics or something into a lot of technicalities of it. But for a normal retail investor, what is more apparent is that what is the strategy that we use, right? So any further interest on the questions that you would like to ask, feel very much free to write us or probably to get in touch with us on the description which has been provided. We shall be very happy to share all the clarity with you.
Right. Manju Thake is asking, what is the minimum investment amount? You've already mentioned that once, but it'll be great for all the people who've just joined.
Okay. So Manju, ideally, if you're starting with an SIP kind of a concept, we suggest you to start with a minimum 10,000 of an SIP on a monthly basis. And if you're starting with a lump sum kind of an investments, we recommend that you should start with a minimum portfolio of 2 lakhs and more. And as I mentioned, that this 2 lakhs might not even be a fresh capital. If you look at your own mutual fund investments, right, which is giving you 15% kind of a return, or your stock portfolio, which is probably not yielding a very good return, you might as well churn those investments and put it into all rounder completely.
Right. Zishan Siddiq is asking, what will be the fluctuation ratio of AI investment? Is it more than normal investment or less?
Okay, so my answer to this is very simple. कोई भी इन्वेस्टमेंट में आपको फ्लक्चुएशंस मिलेंगे, राइट? बट नाउ द क्वेश्चन इज दैट क्या वो फ्लक्चुएशंस आपका कैपिटल इरोड कर रहा है? The answer is simply no. Multiple times we have understood from the basic framework or basic concept of all-rounder is that it will not erode your capital because the entire principle is to invest into multiple asset classes. So it doesn't erode your capital. Fluctuations की बात है, yes, the fluctuations will be there, but a very small set of fluctuation.
Right. Shruti Raut is asking, how does advisory help in decision making during challenging market situations?
Okay, so well, now this is one more interesting question. We need not take any decision, right? As an investor, if this question comes to me as an investor, I need not take any decision. My decision has to be that I've got an advisory. I simply need to click and execute the advisory. The entire decision making without any biases is all done by the algorithms which is already there, which is created. And this is a tried, tested, proven algorithm with a very huge backtested data and the live market performance for a couple of months. And we've been on to training these particular systems for a few years from today.
So Kalpesh is asking a question which I think you've already spoken about too. Is this a one size fits all, or will the recommended trades be as per investor profile?
Okay, so I'll put a bit light onto this. If Kapil, you said, right?
Kalpesh, right?
Kalpesh. Okay, so if Kalpesh and I, we both start investing the same amount at the same risk profile in the same portfolio over a period of time, if Kalpesh is religiously executing trades, right, or executing the entire advisory piece, as and when we share the advisory, and if I am a little lazy one who's not doing so, एक टाइम के बाद कल्पेश को जो एडवाइजरी जाएगी, that is going to be slightly different than the advisory that will come to me. So ये customize हो जाएगा over a period of time depending on the execution that I've already done.
Right. So is there anything else that you would like to add before we close the show, Dr. Vora? It's been quite an insightful presentation. And we've gotten a lot of comments और काफी लोग interested थे इस topic में, and I can see कि काफी interaction हुई है. So before leaving, is there anything that you would want to add?
Yeah, मैं एक ही चीज ऐड करना चाहूंगा कि we spend a lot of time earning money, right? So हमारी limited capacity to earn money, but उसी पैसे से पैसा बनाना is not a rocket science. All that you need to do is go to 5 paisa register yourself for this all-rounder from finance.com, download the app and just get started with it. Simple as that.
Right, it's as simple as that. And guys, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much to Dr. Vora for giving us his time today. अगर आपको ये वीडियो पसंद आया, then do like, share and subscribe to the 5paisa YouTube channel. After the session ends, ये वीडियो भी हमारे YouTube channel में ऐड हो जाएगा, so you can take a look at it again. अगर आपको फाइनेंस के ऑलराउंडर और फाइनेंस के बारे में और जानना है तो again, once again, thank you so much. We will see you soon. Bye.
Thank you.